What is slow travel? Why do people do it? And how can you get the most out of it? Hi, I'm Carly, and welcome to my channel where I delve into the world of travel through a more accessible and responsible lens. What is slow travel? In this video, we'll delve into the concept and see how it challenges conventional tourism and embraces immersing ourselves in the journey. Slow fashion, slow food, slow art. The slow movement has birthed a new approach to many consumables and practices in an attempt to focus on connection and conservation. Slow travel is no exception. So what is slow travel? It's a way of thinking rather than a specific number of miles or days. Slow travel means soaking in the environment, immersing yourself in the culture, and making genuine connections along the way. It means allowing the journey to unfold naturally at its own pace rather than cramming in as many sights as possible. Many people have attempted to give a definition to this practice with varying degrees of success. Travel researchers in the UK wrote the book Slow Travel and Tourism and offered two definitions of the trend. The first being, slow travel is an emerging conceptual framework which offers an alternative to air and car travel, where people travel to destinations more slowly over land, stay longer, and travel less. They offered an alternative version that focuses on experiences instead. The importance of the travel experience to and within a destination, engagement with the modes of transport, associations with slow food and beverages, exploration of localities in relation to patrimony and culture at a slower pace, and what might be best described as support for the environment. While the first quote may have been a more accurate definition when the phenomenon was first born, it definitely doesn't represent the philosophy now, which is better encompassed by the second quote. People may still be pushing others to travel for months at a time, but generally speaking, also travelers agree that it can still be slow travel even if you are just taking a day trip somewhere or if you are traveling around your own city. The importance is put on the intention and the mindset, no matter how you are traveling or your destination. I prefer this definition because it is also a lot more inclusive. Traditional approaches to slow travel can be expensive or require time off work that many people can't afford. Alternatively, slow travel can act a bit like a meatless Monday, where people are able to integrate sustainability more gradually or to the degree that they feel comfortable with for that season in life, opening sustainable travel up to a wider audience. So why choose slow travel? Simply put, it's about experiencing rather than seeing. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of the places we visit. When we slow down, we cultivate a sense of place, engage more deeply with the local culture, and learn more about ourselves and others. Author Monisha Rajesh has written about slow travel through her experience taking long-distance train rides. She wrote that, on a plane, you lift out of one place and drop into the next without any awareness of the in-between. On a train, the journey starts the second you get on board. I don't know who is going to enter my story, and the surroundings are part of the adventure. The dissonance of jumping from one time zone to the next, or leaving one country and just dropping into another one after a plane ride is definitely something I have felt. Often after landing at my new destination, my brain can't even wrap itself around where I am. Am I still in my home country? Am I in an adjacent country? Am I halfway across the world? It could all be the same place. Through slow travel, particularly relating to slow modes of transportation, you get to feel the movement and transition slowly from one place to the next, whether that's by walking and feeling every step that separates two cities, or driving and being able to actually see the change from one location to the next. It serves to anchor you in your surroundings and allows you to get more out of your travels because you can enjoy the journey, not just the destination, because the journey becomes the destination. So beyond that, there are many other benefits to slow travel that motivate people to adopt the practice. For example, it reduces the stress of hectic schedules and the pressure to see it all. It gives perspective to the FOMO that we often feel while traveling. That feeling that if we don't hit all the tourist spots or take lots of photos, then we'll have wasted our time. Conventional approaches can cause us to objectify our experiences, turning us into a collector of attractions, too focused on getting all of the souvenir fridge magnets. In reality, you get more out of the activities you choose to do when you slow travel. Many of the larger attractions can take hours to properly see or experience. If you are packing your day full of attractions, you are only going to get a glimpse of each one before moving on to the next. Imagine going to the Sistine Chapel and only giving yourself 1 hour to experience it because you've packed your day full of activities. I'm just not sure it would do it justice. Similarly, this way of traveling is more likely to show an authentic image of the location instead of the heavily curated image of touristic regions. When you are going for a really short period of time, you are actually just experiencing the tourist culture. Whereas when you take a location more seriously, you can get more out of it. You can find respite, and you can feel more satisfied and ultimately need to travel less. Another benefit is that it is often more accessible to people with mobility issues, such as parents with young kids or people with disabilities, because it promotes moving slowly and accommodating how you're feeling in the moment. The next benefit is connection. You could take a shot for every time I said connection in this video, and well, you probably wouldn't be having a good time, because connection really is a key aspect to slow travel. The idea is to be more in tune with your environment, the people around you, both locals and tourists alike, as well as with yourself. This benefits everyone involved because you are showing respect to the destination and culture you're visiting, while also listening to your body and your needs. This can be especially important for people with mental and physical disabilities, for whom fast travel or conventional travel can cause undue stress or pain if they are pushing themselves to make the most out of their trip, or feeling the pressure to see everything because of the high cost of traveling. It can also reduce our carbon footprint and contribute to ethical and sustainable tourism in other ways. The sustainability of travel can be complicated or controversial, so I might make a separate video about it to try and do it justice and also not make this video too long. So be sure to follow my account and turn on notifications if you are interested in hearing more about slow and sustainable travel. The last benefit is that, somewhat counterintuitively, it can be budget friendly. Here's a quick list of some ways that slow travel can save you money. Number 1. Slow travel encourages you to consider alternative destinations such as close by cities or states, and helps you make the most out of them so that they feel like a real holiday, but one that takes less resources to get to. It encourages you to go less far or avoid the overpriced tourist-driven regions. Number 2. If you're looking to do long-term travel, for instance a multi-month-long trip, you can end up saving more money by buying groceries and renting an apartment than if you had traveled for only a couple of weeks but stayed in hotels and ate at restaurants every night, while discovering more about a place and a culture because you're living like a local. 3. Slow travel discourages you from running from place to place and tells you it's okay not to go see all the attractions. For some very touristy places, the activities can cost quite a lot of money. For example, say you're in the region of Champagne in France, taking a tour of a winery could cost upwards of $200. Slow travel says that if you aren't a huge fan of wine, you don't have to go on a winery tour, even if you are in Champagne. To be clear, there's nothing wrong with feeling that you want to go to a tourist area. For example, feeling that you absolutely have to go to the Louvre because you love art. But slow travel says that you can do that and then go to a lunch at a little cafe instead of jumping over to the Arc de Triomphe or going to the Eiffel Tower, because have you really been to Paris if you don't have a photo with the Eiffel Tower? Of course, everything has its downsides too. Take mobility, for example. I said earlier that slow travel can be more accommodating for people with disabilities because you're going at your own pace and avoiding overly crowded areas. However, places that know to expect a lot of tourists may be more likely to implement or have the resources to be able to implement more accessible infrastructure such as paved walkways, elevators, rest areas and benches, or directions in Braille. So as with anything, it's still important to plan ahead and check what's possible. You can always do a mix of things to adapt to your interests and needs. So now we know the what and the why, but how can you make the most out of slow travel for your next trip or just in daily life? Going on a slow travel journey doesn't mean that you have to give up your job and travel for months. It's about how you travel. Ultimately, we are talking about quality over quantity. It comes down to how you engage with the world, not how you move through it. So, for starters, plan less, allow spontaneity, let the place reveal itself to you, or check in with your needs and interests on a certain day to determine your activity list. Second, use local transportation. Walking, cycling, or taking the bus can offer you a window into the daily life of locals. Similarly, consider local businesses when you travel. Can you stay at a bed and breakfast instead of a chain hotel? Can you eat at a local restaurant? Can you get your coffee from a cafe? Can you buy unconventional souvenirs made by local artisans, or choose activities, experiences, or tours that are provided by smaller businesses? Now, if you can stay at your destination longer, great. But this could also look like choosing a destination that isn't so far so you don't lose time at the airport or adjusting to jet lag instead of exploring your destination. Spending more time in a single location instead of hopping from one place to the other helps to deepen your experience with a place. I think I'll talk in another video about the differences between short-term slow travel and long-term slow travel and offer some tips for both. I'd also love to talk about the difference between slow travel and sustainable/low impact travel, which I think are often conflated, so subscribe if you're interested in that or if you just want to follow my journey. The key takeaway is this: Slow travel philosophy is about being open to experiences, cultures, and connections, regardless of the pace at which we choose or are able to travel. Slow travel is a journey of savoring and cherishing. It's about immersing yourself in the now, capturing not just the sights, but also the spirit of a place. So next time you plan your adventure, why not try slowing down and seeing what happens? Safe travels!